These are 10 of the best relationships in Springfield. Apu starts showering Manjula with presents and he makes every other husband in town seem bad. Time with Cupid opens with Apu inviting Homer and Marge over for dinner with him and Manjula. Once they got to talking, Manjula found it weird that Homer doesn't work 18-hour-long shifts.
But he does work every day, right?
Well, pretty much. Except weekends.
Oh, Apu, what have you been telling her? Apu and Manjula start fighting because Apu told her that it was an American tradition to
work all the time and never see your wife.
Yes, perhaps I stretch the truth a bit.
A bit? That's an understatement. Homer and Marge leave, and Marge says she hopes they didn't get Apu into too much trouble. The next day, Homer was at the Quickie Mart and he asked Apu if he and Manjula solved things.
My shameful neglect has made her feel unloved. Now I fear she will leave me.
Homer tells Apu that there's no way Manjula will leave him 7 days before Valentine's. Apu then comes up with a plan to give Manjula presents every day until Valentine's to make it even more special. The next morning, as Marge was reading the paper, she saw a poem from Apu.
I'll shower you with Valentines for 7 love-filled days.
Oh, how romantic.
Homer, what have you got planned for Valentine's? The next day, Manjula and Marge were talking, and Manjula said that Apu covered their whole bed with wildflowers the other night.
I feel like the luckiest woman in Springfield.
I think someone's getting jealous. Apu continued showering Manjula with presents, and the other women in Springfield began to feel jealous and angry at their husbands for not taking them so seriously. The news even hit the TV, and Homer made a comment about everyone else's marriage falling apart except theirs. But Marge pointed out that he never does anything nice for her, and that he doesn't understand what she wants. Homer went to Mo, where all the other husbands were hanging out, and he said they need to do something about the situation. Homer told the men to ask themselves who's to blame for this.
Well, I guess we are.
Yeah, that's a healthy answer. But then Homer said that
it's easy to blame ourselves, but it's even easier to blame Apu.
well, he isn't making you look bad, you are bad. The men decide to follow Apu around and sabotage his next move on Manjula, so they follow him to the airport where they saw Apu talking with a pilot.
If he writes a message of love over Springfield, we're all screwed.
Well, nobody stopped you from coming up with that idea yourself. Homer jumps on the plane as it was flying and he tries to sabotage the pilot.
I have to deliver a message. It's the Skywriter's code. I am so sick of that damn code.
Really, Homer, you're so sick of it. When did you hear about it before? The pilot managed to write I love.
That must be for Manjula.
Just once, I'd like a love note in the sky.
They really seem like sad women. They should hang out. Homer continued trying to sabotage the message, so instead of writing Manjula, the pilot made a star shape. Marge tried deciphering it, but then she gave up.
Oh, who am I kidding? Homer would never surprise me like that.
But even though she was right, Marge was also partially wrong. Homer went through bushes of roses and then he fell from the sky right into their backyard.
So many roses.
Just when I think I have you figured out, you fall from the sky with roses.
At least something good fell out of this.
I'm gonna snuggle your brains out.
Well, I think I have a collapsed lung, but okay.
But there's another great man in town, only no one knows he has a new wife. Everyone finds out that Ned and Edna Krabappel secretly got married. Ned and Edna's blend agenda opens with Homer playing Jesus in a play, and he falls on Ned and hurts him so badly he needs to go to the hospital. Edna went to get into the ambulance with Ned, but the paramedic told her only immediate family is allowed in.
She's my wife.
Ned and Edna married?
That's right.
Congratulations, Edna, you bagged him good. In the hospital, Edna said it was nice to have a secret marriage while it lasted, and Ned said,
Well, sir, now we'll have an open marriage.
You do know what that means.
No, I don't think he does. Marge and Homer offer to throw a party in their honor, and Ned and Edna agree it'd be nice since the only people at their wedding were Ned's parents. The next day, Edna was having some trouble with Ned's boys, or rather, their lack of children-like behavior. So Bart decided to help her out.
Well, what you gotta do is get them into the real world.
He couldn't be more right.
When they grow up, people like me are gonna take all their money and girlfriends.
Edna says that they're not hopeless. You sure about that, Edna? That night, Ned called to say he's gonna be home late, and he asked Edna if she could go to Rod and Todd's parent-teacher conference. And she went. But for everyone's sake, it would have been better if she didn't.
I'm a chalk jockey too, so don't slap ketchup on bread and tell me it's Pizza Friday.
You teach with that mouth?
Yes. And she does so much more.
You do have science here, right?
We sure do. Behold, advanced astronomy.
I think Edna's public school brain can't handle this. So when Ned came home, he had some big news to hear.
You pulled the boys out of school?
Ned, I know I should have consulted you, but that school is beneath them.
Honestly, she did the right thing. Those boys need to live a little. The next day, their party arrives, and Edna is so proud to see the boys experiencing the real world. So Marge offers to take the picture of the happy family when Edna tells the boys to make sure their temporary tattoos can be seen in the picture.
Mine's a duck with no pants.
What if we were raptured right now?
Oh, come on, Ned. Keep your pants on. Those are only temporary. Edna told Ned she said the tattoos would be fine, and Rod tells him to chillax.
Chillax? Young man in the Flanders house, we speak the king's diddly.
It's not like he called you a fat ass like some other 10-year-old boy we know. Ned is angry that Edna got his kids tattoos, and
You change their school, you buy Rod sneakers that light up like Times Square.
well, they're in style. What's the problem?
Now just when do I get a say in how my boys are raised? This marriage isn't perfect!
Hate to break it to you, Ned, but no marriage is perfect.
Ned, these boys trust me to be their mother. You'd better decide whether you do.
She's completely right. He's smothering those boys like a mom with Oedipus complex. Ned spent the night with the Simpsons, and when he saw Homer and Marge fighting over how to raise their kids, he realized that even after years of marriage, you still won't agree over everything with your partner. Ned rushed over to the school to find Edna and talk to her.
Edna, I'm sorry, and I'll say it in front of God or groundskeeper Willie.
Because those two are practically the same, Edna said she's sorry too, and she overstepped his boundaries.
I guess I never really truly cared about children before. Oh, get over it.
Like they didn't already know. But what was her life like before she met the wonderful Ned? Edna wants to break up with Skinner because he puts his mother first. Special Edna opens with Skinner neglecting Edna Krabappel once again for his mother. They were supposed to go apple picking, but he changed his plans at the last minute.
I got you these store-bought apples instead.
The apples weren't the point.
Skinner asks her why they need to go apple picking if that wasn't the point. To spend time together? Be a couple? Does that ring any bells? The next day, the same thing happened and Skinner ditched Edna again.
You've got to stop putting your mother ahead of me. We have a date.
Tough luck, Mrs. K. Bart saw this and tried to cheer Edna up. He invited her to go out with him so she'd feel a bit better.
A pity date from a 10-year-old? I'll take it.
Well, what's the other option? Wallow in your sadness? Bart told his family what happened, and Lisa suggested that he should nominate Mrs. Krabappel for Teacher of the Year. That way, she'll really feel appreciated. So Edna got nominated for the award, and she can't believe it.
This, after I accidentally showed the R-rated Romeo and Juliet. I thought that nipple would haunt me forever.
Well, I guess it didn't. Edna said she'd like to thank a special person for this.
We've had our ups and downs, but I can't imagine life without him. Bart Simpson.
So, Seymour, how does it feel to be neglected? Because Bart nominated Mrs. K, they get all the way to the award ceremony in Orlando for free. So the family goes with Edna to Orlando, but guess who didn't go?
With all this attention, Edna may meet someone better.
Damn straight she will, ya brunch-eating popinjay.
Hey, someone had to tell him. And who better than Willie? Skinner realizes he's been a fool, and he takes Willie's car and drives to Orlando to be with Edna.
Edna Krabappel, please report to the principal's arms.
Oh, you came.
I'd like to say of course he did, but he almost didn't, so this doesn't count. But Skinner brought someone with.
You brought your mother?
Well, technically, since she's paying for the room, she brought me.
Oh, he disgusts me. Edna told Skinner that she's tired of sharing him with his mother, and she left. But even though Edna dumped him, Skinner stayed in Orlando. He heard that the award winner will also receive enough money so they'll never have to teach again. Skinner realizes he could lose Edna forever, so
I've got to stop her from winning. Then she'll be broken, miserable, and mine.
Because that's the woman you want next to you. Broken and miserable. Skinner finds Bart and he tells him he must sabotage Edna from winning. He gives Bart an ultimatum, and Bart has to do it even though he doesn't want to hurt her.
Oh, this is the worst thing I've ever done.
For the first time in this episode, you're right, Seymour. At the awards, the kids who nominated their teachers are supposed to ask them a question, and that's how they'll choose a winner.
I feel terrible. But this is the only way I can win Edna without upsetting Mother.
Is there anything this grown man won't do for his mother? Bart goes up on stage and he's supposed to read a question, but he keeps stuttering.
I'm sorry, I can't read. Mrs. Krabappel never taught me to read.
Oh, poor Edna. Skinner realizes what he's done and he gets up from his seat.
Wait! That boy is lying. He's not illiterate.
And he's good around the party, too.
How is that relevant now, Marge? Skinner says that he's the one who made Bart do this because he didn't want to lose Edna.
Edna Krabappel is the greatest teacher I have ever known.
Skinner says that if she can teach him to love, she can teach anything. Ah, now that was really sweet.
From now on, I'm my own man.
I have waited to hear that for so long.
And it gets better.
Edna Krabappel, Will you marry me?
Oh, big questions popping everywhere. Edna says she'll marry him.
Oh, great. 3 in a bed.
Oh, that's just disturbing. But did they go through with it? Edna leaves Skinner at the altar after hearing he got cold feet. My big fat geek wedding starts with Edna and Skinner getting ready to seal the deal in holy matrimony. So naturally, this calls for a bachelor's and bachelorette's party.
It's another pair of edible panties.
Now that's sexual.
I can never imagine Skinner being that freaky. So Edna's party is going great, but Skinner's not so much.
Who are all of you people?
We're your buddies. Now come on, Homer's kid's principal. Have a beer.
Does he not have any friends of his own? Soon, they get Skinner drunk and he starts blabbering all sorts of stuff.
I can never lie to you guys. I'm starting to get cold feet.
Of course he is. Because God forbid someone meddles in his relationship with his mother. Homer goes home and he tells Marge everything Skinner told him.
Poor Edna.
Yeah, Marge, it looks like you got the last perfect man.
I wouldn't say perfect, but okay. Homer says that the important thing is to get Skinner to that altar.
Because once a union has been sanctified by God, it takes at least 6 months to tear it apart.
So you hope Skinner will settle down in those 6 months? On the day of the wedding, Skinner seems nervous and he's scanning all exits. But Homer isn't worried because he has all exits covered. As Edna was entering, Skinner tried to leave, but Homer stopped him. Homer asked him if he's ready to take the plunge, and Seymour said,
We had a long discussion about that, where I clearly indicated the coldness of my feet.
And of course Edna heard that. The ceremony began, and Reverend Lovejoy asked if anyone knows any reason why these two people should not be wed.
I do.
No, you say that part later.
Hate to break it to you, but there won't be any later. Edna tells Skinner that she can't marry someone who doesn't want to be with her.
We got a runner. Snipers, take your shot.
I can't do it. That dress is a Vera Wang.
Wow, Edna splurged. People, for some reason, turn on Edna because she dumped Skinner up the altar. Especially Nelson.
What do you care? You hate Principal Skinner.
Bros before hoes.
Since when are they bros? Marge came to see how Edna was doing and Edna said she feels fine. And she won't be settling for someone who's not passionate about her. Marge tells her that passion is for teens and immigrants.
I'm just glad to have someone to look at when I wake up in the morning.
Really, Marge? And how often does that happen? Edna says she doesn't want a relationship without passion.
Then what's the point of being married?
Well, it's... In my case...
It's all right, Marge. We can wait. Meanwhile, Skinner is drowning his sorrows at Moe's.
Oh, God. I've lost the love of my life. Bart's right, I am a wiener.
I hope Homer got that on tape. Homer said he was confused and that he thought Skinner didn't want to be married. But then he said that was before he missed Edna. Homer told him not to worry and that...
If there's one thing I know, it's how to win back a furious woman.
If anything, Homer's a good friend. They go to Edna's apartment and Skinner calls out to her. He says he made a huge mistake and he wants her back.
You just say.
It's too late. I'm free and loving it, Principal Skinner.
Good thing both parties are having honest communication. Homer tells Skinner to say that
every second without you is like a million kicks in the crotch.
Now Marge has to recognize that.
But it's too late to win us back with sweet talk.
What the... Marge, are you helping her?
Really? That's the part you get? Marge says she won't let Edna waste her life on some passionless marriage.
Just why am I taking your advice?
Because I'm successfully married.
There's no ring on that finger.
Homer, you're digging yourself deeper and deeper. The next day, Edna went to Comic Book Guy to return the wedding gift he bought them, and they got to talking and decided to go out. That night, Skinner showed up at Edna's apartment again, but this time...
Well, if it isn't the square in our love triangle.
Yeah, that must be crushing for Skinner.
Give her back to Skinner. A fat, bald guy like you. You could have anyone.
You know, Homer, it might come as a surprise to know that not all women are attracted to men like you. Marge realizes this means Edna is on a rebound, and they have to stop her from making a big mistake. They go to the comic book convention where Comic Book Guy took Edna, and they see he took her in a special room.
Edna, I want you to marry me right here and now.
From one wedding to another. But then Skinner shows up.
Why are you dressed like Catwoman?
No, they told me it was Catman.
Have you ever heard of Catman? The two of them start fighting, but Edna stops them and she says she won't be marrying either of them.
I don't think I want to be tied down to anybody. Take me to some real men.
Careful, Edna. If you think that way long enough, you might end up like Selma. Selma gets married to Sideshow Bob, but Bart can't trust him. Black Widower opens with the family getting ready to host dinner for Selma and her new boyfriend. Patty comes a bit early so she can tell the family something disturbing about Selma's boyfriend. Patty said that Selma has a crazy obsession about not dying alone, so...
In desperation, she joined this prison pen pal program. Her new sweetie's a jailbird.
Could be worse. He could be a criminal currently. Selma and her new boyfriend come over and he shocks everyone.
I'd like you to meet...
Sideshow Bob!
Of course it is. Bart was scared, but Bob assured him that if he wanted to kill him, he would have already done it. Bob said he was miserable in prison, but one day he received a letter from the prison pen pal program.
I need a man, and I cannot find one among the law-abiding.
So this means you should seek a man behind bars?
Inspired by the love of a good woman, I resolved to be the best darn inmate number 24601 I could be.
Wow, Selma's love actually saved someone? And then Bob asked Selma if he could do something very bold in front of her family. She thought it was a kiss, but Bob said,
That's not what I had in mind. Selma, will you marry me?
How long have they been dating again? Everyone was surprised, but Bart was shocked, and he told Selma,
Don't be a fool, Aunt Selma. That man is scum.
Then call me Mrs. Scum.
I know love makes people do stupid things, but Mrs. Scum? The wedding preparations began, and when it came to picking appetizers, Selma told Bob to pick whatever he liked, because when she was a kid, she was playing with bottle rockets and
one shot straight up my nose. I permanently lost my sense of taste and smell.
That's convenient when you're a smoker. Bob said that this wedding planning has gone out of control and he doesn't have that kind of money. Selma told him not to worry, she'll handle everything.
I just hope people don't think I'm marrying you for your money instead of your less tangible qualities.
Now, why would people think that? That night, Selma and Bob rushed home so she wouldn't miss MacGyver on TV, but she missed a part where he was wearing a tank top.
Dang.
Why, Selma, I thought I was the only man in your life.
Sit down and shut up.
Hey, don't make Selma miss her MacGyver, or nothing will come of that wedding. But they start fighting over it, and Bob says he's a bad actor, and Selma ran to Marge's.
He was so cruel. The things he said, they're just not true.
Selma said the wedding was off, and that they're a package.
Love me, love MacGyver. I guess the wedding's off.
Bob came running and begging Selma for forgiveness. Selma didn't want to forgive him because Bob wouldn't say he liked MacGyver.
Would you two knock it off? I hate all the programs Marge likes, but it's no big deal.
Homer being the voice of reason? I can't believe this. The two make up and wedding day rolls around.
In sickness and in health, till death do you part.
I do.
Okay, Bart, your imagination is running wild. Later, Bob and Selma made a toast, and Selma said she's decided to quit smoking.
Except for after meals and after MacGyver.
I mean, who can give up that after meal cig? Bob and Selma take off on their honeymoon, and Selma falls asleep in the car.
The wedding was very tough on you, and the honeymoon is going to be murder.
I guess Bart was right. Selma sent over a videotape from the honeymoon, and she filmed Bob fighting with the staff.
I wanted a room with a fireplace, you brainless luggage monkey!
Bart found this to be very weird. Why would Bob go nuts over a fireplace? But Marge said he just wanted everything to be super romantic. Bob sits Selma down to watch MacGyver, and he goes out for a walk.
Don't forget to die.
What has he planned? Meanwhile, Patty came over to spend time with Marge because she felt lonely without Selma, and she asked if they could watch MacGyver. When?
Aunt Selma has 1 hour to live.
Hey, down in front.
Can someone please explain what's happening? A big explosion happened at the hotel where Bob and Selma were staying, and accidentally enough, it appeared in their bedroom.
Then I went and spoiled it all by doing something stupid like explode you.
So smug. But when he turned the chair around, he saw Bart.
You tried to kill me.
Job well done, Bart. Bart explained how he found it weird that Bob wanted a room with a fireplace, but then it hit him. Gas. Since Selma doesn't have a sense of smell, she won't notice the gas leaking.
All it needed to explode was a single spark, say, from a cigarette.
And since she only smokes after meals and MacGyver, Bob was sure she was going to light one. But then Bart showed up.
Well, he fooled almost everyone. But there was one little boy who never lost his mistrust.
And there's one mom who also can't be fooled. Marge prevents Maggie from seeing her boyfriend because she doesn't like his mom. The incredible lightness of being a baby starts with Marge taking Maggie to a different playground because the one they've been going to is pretty run down.
Shady trees, bathrooms with doors, and that loopy-loop slide.
Where have you been going before? Marge saw that Maggie's friend Hudson was also there, and when they locked eyes, they immediately started running to each other. Seems like someone's in love. Hudson's mom came by to introduce herself.
Courtney.
Marge.
Is that ironic or retro?
It's her name? Courtney asked Marge if Maggie is free for a playdate, but before that, she had to know if Maggie was vaccinated, and
Rest or bottle?
Bob, but I'm not a monster.
Marge said she was going to bring cookies, and Courtney laughed at her because she eats white sugar.
I'll have to tell my partner you said that.
Well, I'm gonna tell my partner you mocked white sugar.
Why do I have a feeling Marge isn't going to like her? When Homer came home, Marge told him that something amazing happened to Maggie.
She's in love.
I'm surprised Marge isn't having a meltdown over her child growing up. Marge brings Maggie over for a playdate, and Courtney asks her if she'd like some coffee, while...
Did you fill out a sexual history?
Sexual history? So our babies can be friends?
Yeah, she's weird. Courtney kept judging Marge and Maggie, and she took Maggie's pacifier.
You don't mind that I baby-proofed your baby for my baby, do you?
Yes, I do. Very much.
Honestly, that's very disrespectful and invasive. Marge takes Maggie and leaves.
And we're not coming back.
That night, Marge was talking to Homer, and she told him that...
I'm denying Maggie happiness because I can't stand the mother of her friend.
Well, the first step is accepting you have a problem. Homer chuckles and says that Maggie is fine, but she doesn't look fine to me. Maggie then finds an invitation to Hudson's birthday party, and Marge confesses,
Hudson had a birthday party, but I didn't tell you, so you missed it.
Oh, Marge, I don't think Maggie is going to be able to forgive that. Marge says that she can explain, and she tells Maggie that Hudson's mom is very annoying, and she makes her feel bad about herself.
You get it right? Right?
No, I don't think she does. The next day, Marge noticed how sad Maggie was, and she decided something.
You're too young to be miserable the rest of your life. In this rom-com, I am not going to be the mean mother.
Yes, please don't turn into Agnes Skinner. Marge takes Maggie to the other playground, and she meets Hudson there.
You know, the one thing we have in common is we're willing to pretend that we like each other for our children.
Well, at least Maggie got her happy ending. But there are much less fortunate couples than Maggie and her boyfriend. Cletus's kids start working for Krusty, and he starts exploiting them. Yokel Chords opens with Lisa becoming a tutor for the Spuckler children.
Young'uns, this here girl has come from fairyland to school y'all.
The fact that an 8-year-old is teaching them and not a professional is very disturbing. Lisa introduces herself and asks the kids what are their names.
Whitney, Jitney,
W. Incest.
Crystal Meth.
Okay, I'm gonna ignore this.
Are we gonna do this much work every day?
I thought they'd be used to work. Lisa suggests that maybe the best education would be taking them out to downtown Springfield. The kids really soak up the city, and they all do a big musical number.
Your minds are opening. Take it home.
Krusty noticed them and said they got talent.
Who's your agent?
What's an agent?
Ka-ching!
Is he really okay with using his kids like this?
I want to hire your entire Appalachian dumpling gang.
Yes he is. Cletus is completely fine with this, and he signs a contract with Krusty. So now they're exploited on TV.
You're better than us.
Now this is just sad. Homer and Lisa were watching the show from home, and Homer was laughing the whole time and calling the kids dumb.
Dad, those kids aren't dumb. This show just perpetuates the stereotype that all yokels are hicks.
Yeah, that's not gonna make Homer stop laughing. Lisa came by to Krusty's set, and she said that the kids missed their class today. But Krusty said she should take it up with their manager, aka Cletus. Lisa tells him he's spending too much of the kids' money on himself.
That's a lie. I ain't spent their money on naught but necessities.
And all that stuff you're wearing is a necessity? Lisa learns that Krusty is planning to take the kids to a hillbilly comedy tour, and she won't stand for it. So as the kids were about to be shipped off, a helicopter flies down from the sky.
What have you done to our children?
Brandine, you're supposed to be in Iraq stopping 9/11.
Lisa says that she had to stop Cletus from exploiting the children.
My babies ain't going on no bus tour.
Krusty comes in and says she can't do that since he signed a contract with the father. But what he didn't know was...
He's only the father of 2 of them.
Brandine knew Fox. The kids come to thank Lisa for...
Introducing us to, then saving us from, the big wide world around us.
Cletus and Brandine might not be the best couple, but they sure are funny. But there's also another funny couple worth mentioning. Homer and Chief Wiggum completely neglect their wives, and they go missing. Uncut Femmes starts with Homer bailing on Marge and leaving her with the kids while he goes to a concert. Marge had to sacrifice her Gengala watch party in order to take the kids on a field trip. She gets paired up with Sarah Wiggum for the whole weekend, which seems like a bummer because Sarah doesn't speak much. Or at all. Meanwhile, Homer is at the concert and Chief Wiggum sits next to him and says that,
"Luckily, I was able to get my wife to take over chaperoning some stupid battleship weekend with Ralphie."
Such great husbands you two are. Nighttime rolls around and Sarah shows Marge that the kids are already asleep because she moved up the clock. Then she took out a flask.
Dang, this is the last place on earth I want to be. No offense, Marge, but geez, this field trip sucks.
Needless to say, Marge was stunned. Sarah and Marge start talking, and turns out they're very much alike.
You have no idea what it's like to be married to a man with a dangerous job he's just not good at.
I think Marge knows that all too well.
Why do his last-minute man plans have to ruin the one day of the year where I get to be catty?
Marge said that they should do more hangouts, but Sarah said there's a reason she keeps to herself. And then the reason was revealed. Two figures showed up out of nowhere and kidnapped Sarah and Marge. Turns out Sarah knows they're kidnappers. They're her old partners.
In a throuple? Who are the original two?
Partners in crime.
You're a criminal?
Pretty hard to believe, I know. Meanwhile, their husbands were handed down a lesson in marriage by Mr. Seeger, who told them they were horrible husbands for what they did to their wives.
They're terrible husbands.
I never should have left Marge holding the bag.
And you needed another man to tell you that. Sarah told Marge the story of how the three of them were thieves. They were lifting everything they could, and they got their biggest jobs from a girl named Red.
I was the driver, and as always, the honeypot.
And that's how she met Clancy.
The kiss was part of the plan, but falling head over high flops wasn't.
Well, it's hard to resist that Wiggum charm. But Sarah fell asleep and she woke up to police sirens. Her friends were arrested, but then one of them said it wasn't her fault. It was Red who set them up.
She goes by the name Lindsay Nagel now.
Well, makes sense. She doesn't seem like much of a businesswoman. They say they've got a plan to get back at her and steal back the diamond she took from them when she set them up. Sarah said she won't do it because she's got a life now, but they threatened to tell Clancy everything.
You never told Clancy?
Let's just say he's always been better at planting evidence than finding it.
She wasn't lying when she said he wasn't very good at his job. Meanwhile, Homer and Wiggum realized their wives were missing and kidnapped. First, they went to Fat Tony, who said he wasn't the one who did it.
Perhaps they left because you are selfish men.
That's the only explanation.
I mean, I get why they would think that, but not everything is about them. But while Homer and Wiggum were losing their minds, Sarah and the girls were coming up with the plan to sneak into Gengala and steal the diamond. Marge swoops in and says their plan won't work, since she knows everything about Gengala. She tells them their only bet is to get in as a guest. But for that, they'll need someone who knows everything about the event.
This vanilla soccer mom could be our secret weapon.
Marge accepts, because what else is she gonna do? So they managed to sneak in and take the diamond with basically zero trouble at all. But as they were sneaking out,
Here, Wiggum! Freeze!
We're here to give you ladies the attention you deserve.
And at the worst possible time, Sarah tries to tell her husband that it's not a good time now, but he insists.
No, when it comes to love, it's always the time for shouting. Sarah, Wiggum!
Sarah body slams him to the floor and Wiggum is stunned. But then Lindsay sees them and says they're the ones who stole her diamond. But before she could do anything, Marge tripped her and she fell down the stairs.
This time, leave me holding the bag.
Oh, thanks, homie. But they're part of the ensemble.
But from two not-so-good husbands, we move on to one great one. Comic book guy meets the love of his life, but her father doesn't approve. Married to the Blob opens with comic book guy being depressed when he realized there's no one in his life he's close to, let alone someone to share his life with. But then a beautiful girl walks in. She introduces herself and says her name is Kumiko, and she's here from Osaka. She said she's noticed him a couple of times, but he never saw her.
You're either looking down in disgust or up in disdain. I think you have great soul.
I think she's the first person who's ever said that. Comic book guy invited her around, but before their date, he had to consult someone.
Why pick me?
Because you are the only fat man in real life who ever got a hot woman.
Hey, he only speaks the truth.
Now remember, don't be the way you normally are and sustain that for the rest of your life.
Okay, Marge, that's not the best advice. The four of them go out together, and the whole time, comic book guy is trying to restrain himself from speaking his mind.
I cannot hide the snide inside.
Oh, I don't mind. If you think it's stupid, say it's stupid.
Wow, Japan seems like a different planet all of a sudden. Kumiko and Comic Book Guy work amazing together, and they're really in love. So she decides to move in with him in his basement. Marge told Homer to go and give them a housewarming present, and when he went there, he met a man who said he's looking for his daughter, but the only thing he sees is a store, not a residence. Homer realizes the man is Kumiko's father. Homer tells him that she's moved in with her boyfriend, but he's not so much a boy as he is immature.
But fat and old.
So an obese nerd has stolen my daughter to live in his basement?
Homer says that he hasn't even told him about the basement yet. Needless to say, Kumiko won't be getting her happily ever after. Her father takes her away and tells Comic Book Guy he's taking Kumiko back to Japan. Marge tells Homer he needs to fix this, so he takes Kumiko's father out. They talk for a bit, but then the man orders the strongest drink there is.
Snake, rice, wine. Now that's disgusting.
It won't be that disgusting when you get plastered. And they do. They also start hallucinating, and in those hallucinations, Kumiko's dad realizes he's the demon holding Kumiko back from her happiness. The next day, Comic Book Guy tells Kumiko's dad that he got a real job, and that he hopes he's proven himself worthy of his daughter.
You were worthy. The way you were.
I was? But I rented the store.
Well, gee, get it back. Kumiko and Comic Book Guy get married at his store, and as part of his vows, he says he will also be selling greeting cards.
Every day, I will give one to Kumiko in commemoration of today with the salutation, best day ever.
Aw, now this might be one of the sweetest weddings on The Simpsons. But did their life continue to be so blissful? Marge and Homer help Comic Book Guy and Kumiko to have a baby. The Dad Feelings Limited starts with Homer and Marge in desperate need for some adult conversation. So they go to Moe's for a trivia night. They team up with Comic Book Guy and Kumiko, and surprise, surprise, they actually win. After that, they went out to dinner, and turns out Marge has a lot of wisdom to share with Kumiko.
Take a poncho. I always carry extras in case Homer eats anything slurpable.
That's actually pretty smart. Kumiko asks Marge if she has any more wife hacks, and Marge tells her,
Oh, I've got all kinds of tricks for fat-proofing your house. Come over sometime and I'll show you.
The next day, Kumiko comes over and Marge shows her some tricks. But then Maggie starts crying and Marge asks Kumiko to sit with her while she warms up a bottle. Kumiko was nervous because she doesn't know much about babies. But when she picked up Maggie, she instantly fell in love.
I just remembered something I must tell my husband.
Impregnate me at once!
Okay, that was pretty straightforward. Comic Book Guy was shocked, and he said that they never talked about wanting children since they were both pretty set in not wanting them.
If I can't convince you, maybe she can.
Why am I not surprised they're into cosplay? Kumiko tried to use Comic Book Guy's fantasy to win him over, but he said he doesn't want a baby and is final. That night, Homer and Marge were talking, and Marge said that Kumiko's baby fever is out of control. Homer said that he thinks Comic Book Guy should have kids, and Marge was surprised he said something so sweet.
Cut, screw that jerk! Thinks his childless life is so great just because it is.
She spoke too soon.
So we'll help them?
Anything to destroy their paradise.
At least they're on the same page. The family goes to watch a movie screening in the cemetery, and they accidentally meet Comic Book Guy and Kumiko there. They leave the kids with them and walk away to have some alone time.
Yo, Kingpin.
How's the ponytail hanging?
Don't patronize me, Bart and She-Bart.
He really hates children. Comic Book Guy said he needs silence to enjoy his movie, and he takes away Bart and Lisa's phone so they could maybe culturally enrich their lives while they're there.
Tonight you watch a screen that is unswipeable.
No, not that. Anything but that. The movie ends and Comic Book Guy is ready for the kids to make snarky remarks, but they both loved it. Comic Book Guy asks Kumiko what is that thrill he's feeling, and she tells him,
You are experiencing this movie again for the first time, but through the eyes of children.
Now this makes me want to have a kid.
Let's return these loner kids and go home to make a mixed-race nerd.
Meanwhile, Homer and Marge got stuck in a crypt and they can't get out, so everyone is looking for them. The children get scared and start crying, and Comic Book Guy doesn't know how to give them emotional support.
Must act like loving father. I flee.
That's generational trauma if I've ever seen it. Homer and Marge managed to get out, and they went to go after Comic Book Guy, but Kumiko said he had to run to a place where there's no hope.
I have returned forever.
Your room is unchanged.
So he ran away to his childhood room. Homer and Marge drive up there to try and get him to come back, but they learn a horrible truth. Comic Book Guy was completely neglected as a child. Everyone in his family was a nut for certain collectibles, and no one paid attention to him. That's why he found his own obsession and has stuck with it over the years. This infuriated Marge, and she went to speak to Comic Book Guy's father, and she made him talk to his son.
So I supported you the only way I knew how. I purchased you a collectible.
The father says that he didn't have the heart to give the collectible to Comic Book Guy. Well, at least he supported him somehow. Comic Book Guy came home and he told Kumiko,
I am now changed, better guy.
You are ready to make a baby.
But to see the baby, you'll have to stay tuned for more. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with your favorite Springfield relationship. And no, it can't be Homer and Marge.